Okay, Surabhi, thanks for that. Heidelberg Cement's numbers flashing on the screen. Year-on-year numbers look good. Sandeep J Shah is joining us, managing partner of Motilal Oswal Private Wealth Management. Sandeep, good afternoon. Cement numbers have stood out, Sandeep. We have ACC's numbers, which were really spectacular today. Ultratech looked good. Even from the first looks, Heidelberg looks quite okay. Your thoughts on this pack? Sorry, we can't hear you, Sandeep. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, hi. So clearly, we are obviously seeing a strong economic recovery, and earnings have actually been leading the way. And while currently most of the housing sales that we are seeing is a lot of built-up inventory, but as that inventory gets cleared out, I think we should start seeing cement demand pick up significantly from here. While these quarterly numbers have been good, but I think there's still a long runway ahead of us. And I certainly think that demand in housing as well as infrastructure should actually pick up from here. Incidentally, a lot of the cement companies have reported very, very high utilization and in the fourth quarter. And I think now, of course, April, May wouldn't have been that strong, but we're already seeing that recovery happening in June as well. And so I think post the monsoons, of course, there's always a bit of a lull during the monsoons. But overall, I think cement stocks, will be a good proxy on the economic recovery.
Okay. Sandeep, hi, good to have you on the show. Let's get your view on financials, because it's been a very interesting quarter where the biggest blue chips have raised certain questions and there's a debate ongoing in the market. Your thoughts after seeing and hearing the numbers? HDFC Bank, Bajaj Finance and the likes?
Frankly, I'm not really surprised at all by these numbers because, we all know that there was no moratorium this time. We all know that we've had, lockdowns in different forms and for different time frames. So to that extent, I'm not really surprised by the asset quality, which seems to, have caught everybody's attention. I think some of the big names who've actually recently announced their numbers, I think have a reputation and have the processes in place to ensure very good asset quality. And clearly, if I were to even try to peer out into the future, while the third wave seems to have begun in different parts of the world. I think this time around, clearly, if you were to look at the latest Zero survey, which said that a significant proportion of the population already has antibodies. So to that extent, I think that I would use all dips in the large private banks, in the large NBFCs, and perhaps even perhaps the largest PSU bank as well, clearly as buying opportunities. And in fact, what's likely to happen, this quarter is that. Overall, for incidentally for the PSU banks, is that you're going to see, while pre-provision operating profit growth may not be significant, but you might see a big jump up going forward in terms of post-tax profits even for the PSU banks starting this quarter and accelerating for the others. So I remain positive on the quality financials. I don't think there's anything to be concerned or worried about by these numbers. I think analysts just actually underestimated the impact the lockdown would have on NPAs.
What about the QSR space? Stocks like Jubilant FoodWorks. I'm sure you would have seen the numbers and the market reaction. Is this a space that you like?
So clearly, food retailing, to the extent that they've been driven, to the extent that they've managed to scale up their home delivery model, is obviously showing a lot of promise. But I think one of the interesting things that's happening, and I think we see this across corporate India, is a lot of companies are innovating, learning, not just about cutting costs, about reinventing their business model, about redefining how they service customers. And to that extent, this still, while home delivery is gaining in proportion, dining in the restaurants still remains a significant component. So I wouldn't want to chase some of these stocks here, but I think I would, selectively be looking to add on bad news. I wouldn't want to really chase them because while, the fact that the whole world is talking about the third wave and that means that all stakeholders are far better prepared, whether it's government, whether it's companies, whether it's restaurants, whether it's customers. Everybody is so well prepared, and the market also knows that. Let's keep in perspective that the second wave, with all its ferocious human catastrophe, the Nifty just corrected by 8%, and history tells us that that the third wave, if you were to go back to the 1920s, suggests that the third wave might be between the first and second wave, especially with the kind of vaccination that's already in place. So yes, I would be positive, but I wouldn't want to chase this sector.
Speaking of home delivery, Sandeep, the mega listing is taking place tomorrow. I don't know if you told investors or your clients to take a bite or not, but your thoughts on the sort of valuations we're talking about here as some of these companies come to the street?
Yeah, I guess there's always a challenge when we find that, even on price to sales or, obviously nobody's looking at profits, but on some of those parameters as well, some of the Indian companies tend to trade significantly more expensive than the global counterparts. While I'm always willing to give us a premium for the higher growth, or the fact that we're still way behind in terms of the curve. Some of the global peers that some of these companies are compared with, they've actually been around for much longer and they're far bigger in size. But some of these, I think you've got to be very selective. Our house view on some of these companies has been that you could play this for listing gains. But I would actually suggest a bit of caution and not get carried away, because there's going to be a huge there's a huge string of these companies coming for raising IPO, for raising money. And so you've got to be selective. But I guess the other approach could be to, take small positions across them and build a basket. And hopefully that basket should see you through. But, this is more of shooting in the dark.
Okay, by the way, some of these retail stocks are doing well. Trent is up 7% now and AB Fashion's up 5.5%. Any thoughts on this space, Sandeep? Do you like any stocks here?
So some of these companies clearly have a good balance sheet, have a strong promoter backing, and they have a fair amount of size as well. So here again, it's obviously the unlocked trade which we're all waiting for. It's actually a little surprising that why some of our malls aren't allowed to have vaccinated customers. And so I'm hoping that some of this actually starts happening fairly rapidly. And I did see some news that some of the governments are considering that. And I think if that were to happen, then I guess, yes, there is room here, because while the stocks may not be close to the bottom, but I don't think the complete upside from the unlocked trade would really be factored in here, because, a lot of investors will always say, show me the numbers. And currently there are no numbers in that sense, but certainly a sector to be positive for the long term.
Okay, got that. Pleasure talking to you, Sandeep. Thanks very much for taking out the time, and we look forward to our next interaction as well. Well, look at the market in the meantime.